Hello, I'm Cheryl McCarthy of the City University of New York. Welcome to One to One. Carol Tweedy may be responsible for creating more physically fit young people than any other single individual in New York City. She's executive director of Asphalt Green, a citywide nonprofit that's been in the news recently, not because of its Olympic-sized pool overlooking the East River, and not because of the thousands of school children who have learned to swim there free of charge, but because of a waste transfer station that the city is constructing adjacent to the property. In fact, she was one of 8 protesters against the waste transfer station who were arrested just last month. Why she opposes the project and why, after 20 years of remarkable accomplishments there, she feels Asphalt Green is such a special place is what we'll talk about today. Welcome.
Thank you.
Asphalt Green is a huge sports and fitness complex which sits on the Upper East Side, and you also have a facility in Battery Park City. Tell us about your campuses and your facilities.
Because our mission is sports and fitness for a lifetime, that is keeping people healthy through physical activity, our campuses have the kind of facilities to promote that. So stellar among that is our 50-meter Olympic-sized pool that's on our Upper East Side, East Harlem campus, the only 50-meter Olympic standard pool open to the public in Manhattan and for quite some time in the entire city. We also have a beautiful turfed soccer field, basketball court, fitness center. Down in Battery Park, we also have a pool. That one is 25 yards, 6 lanes. Both facilities have a very interesting smaller warm water pool with a movable bottom. So you can put a toddler in it and the pool depth can be 2 feet. You can roll someone in a wheelchair on the floor, lower them down into the water, and they can float in 6 feet depth. So those are wonderful amenities for a huge range. In Battery Park, we also have basketball court, a culinary center, and opportunities for music and art in our classrooms.
Okay. Now, the East Side campus is actually on the site of the city's first asphalt plant, right? Hence
Yes.
the name?
Yes.
And at what point was it converted into a sports complex?
The city actually had wanted to bring it down. It had been talked about by Paul Goldberger as the most iconic incidental industrial piece of architecture on the water. And the city wanted to take it down in order to do some dense high-rise development. And the community said, wait a minute, this is an opportunity to really take advantage of a unique building. So in 1984, it was transformed into a recreation center. Great for that because no interior beams. And then on the adjacent property in 85, the turf field was laid.
So what makes Asphalt Green different from, say, I live on the west side, from, say, Chelsea Piers, which is another huge sports complex, or makes it different from many of the Parks Department's sports and recreations program?
We combine the best of those 2 examples. We're a not-for-profit. People do use us as one would a health and fitness club, or they join day camp or take swim lessons. But we use money we raise and the excess that we're able to generate through our fee-based programs to support all of our free programs.
Okay.
And that's, in terms of our mission, what we want to do. We want to empower all people through the use of sports and fitness. You wouldn't see that at Chelsea Piers, and certainly
Which is a private, I assume, for-profit.
Yes, that's right.
Complex.
Or a Parks Department facility which isn't able to deliver the range or the depth of excellence because of their general responsibilities.
So where does the money come from to pay for your facilities and your programs?
Much of it comes from the fees that we charge, a day camp fee, a swim team fee, a swim class fee, a health and fitness membership. That spins off a surplus, and we raise money in order to support our free programs, which get delivered both on our campus and all over the city. This year, those free programs served 30,000 children all over the city.
So it's really the combination of the fee programs and the free programs that makes you unique.
Yes, and with a very viable financial model.
Do you get any public money?
We have in the past received modest grants from the city council, from the borough president, both for operations and for capital expenses. We're actually on city land, and we have a contract with the city which requires that 1/3 of our services be delivered free.
Okay. Now there was a big Asphalt Green had, well, before I go to that, it was just last summer, I think, that you opened up the facility in Battery Park City.
Yes.
Why the decision to open one there?
We were strong enough to begin to grow with satellites. We were actually approached by the Battery Park City Authority, who asked that we bring our excellence in services down there. And we saw it as an opportunity to serve more New Yorkers, both on a fee basis and a free basis down at Battery Park City.
Now, when you took over 20 years ago, and you're retiring at the end of this month,
yes,
after a remarkable 20 years, Asphalt Green had a big deficit.
Yes.
Had a lot of problems.
$2 million of red ink when I walked in the door, yes.
And how has that changed since?
Well, we've become a financially healthy and stable organization. At that point in time, we were a $5 million organization. Now we're a $25 million organization. But I think the most important thing is that at that point in time, we were doing many, many different kinds of things. In addition to the sports that we were providing, we also did theater programs, we did arts and crafts, we had a photography center. And I think that was very confusing to the public and also extremely difficult to deliver excellence when you're covering that broader range of services. And so we decided to focus our mission on sports and fitness. We renovated the asphalt plant so that all the rooms were appropriate for gross motor activity, and that has been our primary effort since then. And that really made us more healthy.
And tell me about some of the kinds of programs that you offer. Let's talk about swimming, because that's obviously a big thing with this terrific pool. You have swimming classes for kids, for youths, private well, you tell me about.
And we could for you too, Cheryl. We teach lots about how to swim. We start from the littlest kids in swim class, and we go all the way up to older people who are going to be in water exercise or water arthritis classes. The pieces that I think are most stellar is the waterproofing program, which engages public schools during the school day to teach children how to swim. Swimming is the second leading cause, drowning that is, of accidental death among children. Black children drown at 3 times the rate of white children because they tend not to have access to pools. So it's our responsibility to reach out to that constituency.
So waterproofing is a free program?
Yes, for public school children.
Okay.
The other stellar piece of our aquatics program, starting from the Learn to Swim piece, goes all the way to the top, and that's our swim team, which in 2012 produced an Olympic swimmer. And it was really our dream because Leah Neal is an African Chinese American girl. She was on scholarship at Asphalt Green, and it was our dream that a child of color on scholarship would stand on the block at the Olympics and win a medal, and it happened. It happened in 2012.
And you also have a swim league, you have a swimming camp, you have swimming for youth with disabilities.
Yes.
Tell me about the swimming camps.
Focuses on kids who know they want to improve their swimming skills, and it really starts to get them ready for competitive swimming so that they can move on to the team that if we want to. Okay. We really focus on technique, on really being the best, fastest swimmer that you can be.
Now, is that a summer program, or is that?
That happens during the summer.
Okay. Yes. Now, I was looking at the cost for the swimming camps, $650, not cheap. How How would your fees compare to, I keep bringing up Chelsea Piers? Would they be cheaper?
We're sort of right in the same place. Actually,
Okay.
on some things, we're a little bit less expensive than Chelsea Piers. And we have an active scholarship program. We really want to engage people who can't afford it.
Okay. And you have a lot of youth sports. Tell me about some of those.
Our soccer team at the moment is very hot. Several at the premier level of the Westchester Soccer League. We have basketball teams and basketball classes. We do flag football. Anything you can do on a field, we do it, or in a gymnasium.
Right.
Gymnastics team. Many ways to get kids active. You have to find the one that presses a kid's button.
So we're talking about team sports, and we're talking about instruction classes in certain sports.
Yes.
Okay. We're going to take a short break. Then I'll be back with more with Carol Tweedy, Executive Director of Asphalt Green, after this message. Welcome back to One to One. I'm Cheryl McCarthy of the City University of New York, and I'm talking with Carol Tweedy, the outgoing Executive Director of Asphalt Green. I just wanted to talk about a couple of your other programs. One is the Recess Enhancement Program. Tell us about that.
A parent must have been about 2001, invited us to come and look what was going on in her child's playground at recess. And what we saw is kids either beating each other up or doing nothing, just standing around. And we felt that recess was a wonderful opportunity to get kids physically active and working together in just a very short period of time, ready to go back to the classroom, ready to learn. And so we designed special games that were very inclusive, that had conflict resolution skills. Today, we bring that program, which we call the Recess Enhancement Program. The kids actually like that name, REP. I find it sort of a funny name. And we're in 60 schools in every borough except Staten Island.
Now, do you send your staff over there, or do you train staff at the schools? How
No,
do you do that?
we insert our play coaches in the schools. And we've learned that kids are 50% more physically active when we're there, and there are 4 times less aggressive behaviors when we're working with the kids.
And in how many schools again?
60 schools.
60 schools. And you also have community sports leagues.
Yes. Our community sports leagues serve middle school kids. Middle school kids have 2 challenges. One is they turn into couch potatoes as they become concerned about their body image. And they're likely to become alienated from school. And the data has shown that if you get kids involved in a sports team that represents their school, 2 things happen. They stop being a couch potato, they're more physically healthy, and they become more closely allied with their school. And so you can begin to affect attitudes, school involvement. Kids can't play unless their attendance and grades are acceptable, and the school makes that judgment. So we're in 16 schools, working with both boys and girls on teams, basketball, flag football, and soccer over the course of the year.
And are those also free programs?
Those are also free,
Okay.
also free.
Now,
Whenever we work with a not-for-profit organization, whether it be a school or a senior center, we provide those services for free.
I mentioned the recent protest against the construction of the garbage transfer station, and how is that going to affect you, and why are you against this?
The ramp to the garbage transfer station runs right through the campus of Asphalt Green, right between the playing field and the Aqua Center. In any given year, there are 34,000 children that come into those spaces, 34,000 children, all of which will be affected by the traffic, the emissions, and the safety problems on that site. There is no other garbage dump that's being constructed as part of the city's solid waste management plan in a neighborhood that's so densely populated, so residential, and egregious of all, is right on top of kids' playing fields and playgrounds. And so we oppose it because we're about health for children. And this construction project, this plan, totally violates that.
How much of a done deal is it? I mean, is there any way of stopping it at this point?
The mayor could certainly stop it. He has acknowledged the problems that I just mentioned, safety, emissions, and traffic. We are trying to activate a dialogue with the city to look at ways to address that. And I would have to say, honestly, that's been an uphill climb.
Now, you mentioned how the density of the community where you are, the upper East Side has changed a lot over the last, say, 20 years. Has that affected the clientele at Asphalt Green?
Our aggressive efforts to engage low-income populations and communities of need, that's what's changed the constituency of Asphalt Green.
Okay. What are the accomplishments that you are most proud of? Other than getting rid of the deficit, that's got to be way up there.
Right. Certainly the waterproofing program, and the city saw the value of what we were doing and started its own Swim for Life program with the goal of teaching every second grader how to be water safe. For $14 million a year, the city could continue that. Every second grader could learn how to be safe in the water if the city would make that commitment. And I feel very proud through what we did with waterproofing, we laid some of the groundwork for that effort.
Mm-hmm. What do you enjoy most about your job?
It's huge diversity. I enjoy looking down at the pool. I have a wonderful mirror and a window in my office, and I can see the team on one side of the pool and the members on the other, and I think, do they think they're doing the same thing? I love seeing kids come pouring off the school buses. There's sort of a disaster on the street, and when they enter the building and they know they're about to get involved in a swim program, they change. Mm-hmm. They magically change, and they focus because something very exciting is about to happen to them. So I love that experience.
There's something called the Big Swim.
Yes.
That you organized.
Yes. The Big Swim is an incredible event that's an open swim meet for any New York City kids who thinks they can make it across the pool. And if they should be wrong and they can't make it across the pool, the lifeguards go in and pull them to the touch pad at the end, and every kid comes out of the water with a medal. Every kid's a winner at the Big Swim. So this year, for 900 kids, we provided a transformational experience, a real changer. They were in a real swim race for the first time in their lives.
And I mean, and these are not necessarily kids who have had swimming lessons, or I hope they're kids who know how to swim.
we just say that as a requirement to enter, but we don't pre-test, and that's why our lifeguards are so fantastic, because sometimes and also kids get nervous, and so their stroke sort of falls apart. But everybody's a winner, and it's been a very safe experience for all the years, 17 years that we've been doing it.
How is, we talked a little bit about the fact that a lot of African American, not just children, but a lot of African Americans don't know how to swim. What does it mean to them to learn how to swim, to have swimming programs and pools available to them?
I think it means the same thing that it does for anybody. All of a sudden, I'm a swimmer is part of my identity, that people can say that. I'm a swimmer. I have that under my belt. I can be safe. And that's sort of the identity pieces aside from a lifelong fitness habit that people then gain. Really safe, really easy to do all the way up until the end of your life. We see that. And so it's a wonderful gift to be able to give anybody, no matter what their race.
Now, did I hear you say that there is a culinary arts program at
Battery
Park? Tell me about that.
Well, when the Battery Park City Authority was planning the facility, they went to the community, and the community said, well, we'd like to see a culinary center also. And so we agreed that it would be part of the programming package. And so there's cooking lessons and cooking parties for everybody from really young kids that make food with their parents to adults who are having a good time through a cooking class.
And this fits in with your whole concept of fitness, I assume?
Healthy nutrition. Our meals are healthy, and so while you're having a good time, we're teaching you how to eat well.
Okay, okay. Now you have tell me about your scholarship program.
While most of our free programs are directed towards institutions, I sort of call it the wholesale model. That is, we're serving the school or the not-for-profit. We do recognize that there are people that we miss, and so they can apply for a scholarship, and we have funds available to pay for that. We focus in two areas for scholarships where we think diversity is most important: day camp, certainly, and on our swim team.
Okay, okay. Now you have a Master of Social Work degree from Berkeley. What brought a nice social worker to running a huge sport and fitness facility?
That's a great question, because when I was first approached to join Asphalt Green as executive director, I said, I don't do that. I don't do that. I'm a social service person. And in fact, personally, I'm not only not an expert, at that time I wasn't, in sports and fitness, but I'm quite clumsy. And I'm also was a pre-Title IX girl, and so my involvement in organized sports was less than you might see today. But what I realized, first of all, is that Asphalt Green was about excellence, that the board of directors had a vision which was extremely powerful, and that it would be an honor for me to deliver their mission. But also I realized everything I had done in social services was about making people stronger to face life's challenges, no matter what they are. You know, they come at us, we don't control them for the most part. And so you have to feel strong. So whether I was enriching the life of a homebound senior citizen, working in a runaway program for teenagers, teaching adults, developing programs to teach adults how to read. All these things made people stronger. And if there was anything that made people stronger, literally and figuratively, and I think anyone who works out and involved in fitness will say this is true, they are stronger.
So you're going to be wrapping up your tenure at Asphalt Green at the end of this month.
Yes.
What's next for you?
Well, I'm going to continue to work with Asphalt Green as a senior advisor to fight the garbage transfer station. I intend to be civically involved, more civically involved than I've had the time to do. I'm going to improve my Italian, and I just got married a month ago, so I expect I'll have a good time with my new spouse.
I think you will. And I just realized that, I've been, passing by Asphalt Green for years and years and not really realizing all that was going on there. So now I know.
And we welcome you to come join us.
Okay, maybe I can learn to swim finally.
Yes, that's right. Thank you.
We're out of time. I want to thank Carol Tweedy for joining me today. You can find out more about joining the facilities at either Asphalt Green, at the Asphalt Green location uptown or in Battery Park City, by going to asphaltgreen.org. For the City University of New York, I'm Cheryl McCarthy. If there are any people you'd like to hear from or topics you'd like us to explore, please let us know. You can write to me at CUNY TV, 365 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10016, or you can go to the website at cuny.tv and click on Contact Us. I look forward to hearing from you.